Life is very fragile in every way. I mean, it's not just acts of violence, but also environmentally. I mean, there's complete havoc in the entire world about, you never know, you go for a trek and there's a landslide. And
exactly, yes.
So, I mean, that of course is very unfortunate. So when I'm shooting, I think my family and friends have kind of write me off for that time period. They're like, oh, she's shooting means she will not be there for anything. In fact, kabhi-kabhi aisa bhi hua hai ki, you know, sometimes I want to hang out with them and they've just not called me because they're like, ये तो shooting कर रही होगी, ये तो आएगी नहीं.
Wow, what a good impression you have with your friends.
Yeah. Now they examine the performance more closely, you know, because I think over the years they've also, the kind of conversations I've had with them, I've told them, you know, I tried to do this and it didn't quite work, or I tried this and it worked very beautifully. So वो भी अभी critic बन गए. So like my father will say, you know, in that scene I felt that you were too intense. Maybe you should have held back a little. I said, wow, I'm getting direction notes from my father.
Hi, this is Amina Sheikh here on Zoom channel, and with me right now I have the beautiful Rasika Dugal. So join me as I welcome her only on Zoom. I should not just only call her beautiful, but she's also the most non-controversial actress that I have come across, and I really want to know how she has managed to kind of survive without any controversy around her.
Wow, that's
like you have done shows like Delhi Crime, but still there is no controversy around you.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just boring.
You feel so? Or you're too engrossed with your work that you don't really like actually see what's happening around you. Is that the case with you when you're shooting?
Yes. When I'm shooting, I'm just trying to get the work done, and it's not easy. I mean, it's like every day that you go and shoot, you feel like, will I be able to get there today or not? You know, आज जो करने आए थे वो हो पाएगा कि नहीं? I mean, even physically, because it's really tiring to be on a film set, because invariably the hours are very long, and when you're shooting in Bombay, it's the travel included. It's just too many hours, and emotionally, will you be able to get where you are required to be in terms of the script? So when I'm shooting, I think my family and friends have kind of write me off for that time period. They're like, oh, she's shooting means she will not be there for anything. In fact, kabhi-kabhi aisa bhi hua hai ki, you know, sometimes I want to hang out with them and they've just not called me because they're like, ये तो shooting कर रही होगी, ये तो आएगी नहीं.
Wow, what a good impression you have with your friends.
I feel like I need to correct that.
But when you are actually with your friends, I really want to know, Rasika, from you, that what kind of conversation, you know, you like to explore, because they would be like, oh, she belongs to the film world. She would have, you know, better hang of things for that. They would also be like, थोड़ा सा change हो जाता होगा, you know, when you are in the world of you know, entertainment. कई बार even when I meet my friend, you know, friends which are not from the industry, they're like, ऐसे ही होता होगा ना, तुम लोग जो बता रहे वो नहीं है ना, and all these things happen. What's your conversation like?
That's true. In fact, no, but most of my friends who I hang out with have been my friends for many years. So they've kind of seen me through the days where I didn't have work. So they now know about my life. You know, it's nothing about my life is oh acha batao sort of situation for them. By now they know. In fact, there are older stories of how I used to have one audition top. So you know, when you're struggling, you used to go for auditions every day. So I used to have one or two tops that I used to call my audition tops. So I would only wear those tops and go for auditions, and those were kept very carefully. They were not for use otherwise, क्योंकि उसको धो के आयरन करके अलग से रखते थे कि जब ऑडिशन होगा तब हम पहन के जाएंगे. So they've been with me through these years. So they've seen me through my audition top days to now. So nothing is like, oh अच्छा ऐसा होता है for them. And most of them have sort of other friends who are in the profession also. So they kind of know the ups and downs, and they kind of understand, like before shoot, close to shoot, they know that I won't want to hang out so much. On days of shoot, I'm generally too spent to be able to do anything. So there's no pressure of any kind. अगर किसी का birthday होगा, I'm easily excused. क्योंकि if Rasika is shooting, she won't come. So they're very kind to me like that, and they're still my friends. So I'm very happy about that. In terms of family, yes, like extended family, of course my parents know about, like my mother follows every success and failure with with so closely that it's very beautiful to have her to share that with. In fact, sometimes she gets more anxious than me. She's like, you'd gone for that meeting, did it work out? And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay. Sometimes people don't call you back. Sometimes things don't work out, and it's fine. But extended family, of course, they're like, oh, give us some gossip, and I'm like, believe me, I have none. You know more than I do. So I'm very, my gossip radar is very poor. I have zero gossip on that, and I don't really indulge it either.
Yeah, I do get that vibe, whenever I look at her, I'm like, no, she is someone who should not be touched also. But, as you speak about your mother, and it's very interesting when, when you are on your journey of, acting, and when they participate, and that joy and happiness is very different when they get to know that, acha, this you're doing, or, they get more interested as much as, even like when I'm doing the work, and my mom is more excited. Ye hua, ye nahi hua. How it has been over the years when she has seen your performances, when your parents have seen your performances, what feedback they have also given, some things which you have worked on, which otherwise when filmmakers give, sometimes you also let go, but when parents give, you take it very seriously.
So actually they've always been excited about my work, even when I did a lot of independent films which didn't get, which were not released very widely, in fact had very small releases, and they would never reach Jamshedpur. That's where my parents live, because only the films which I released widely reached Jamshedpur, right? So my mother would do a screening of my independent film for her friends and all of that. So their excitement has been very gratifying, and it's been very encouraging to me. And normally earlier on they would just sort of say, oh, we really liked you in this, and all of that. Now they've become now they examine the performance more closely, because I think over the years they've also, the kind of conversations I've had with them, I've told them, I tried to do this and it didn't quite work, or I tried this and it worked very beautifully. So wo bhi abhi critic ban gaye. So like my father will say, in that scene I felt that you were too intense. Maybe you should have held back a little. I said, wow, I'm getting direction notes from my father. But he's always followed, like I feel like my father is the best. I should hire him as my PR agent, because he's the first one to find any article about me, anything that comes in the press. There are sometimes things that you do and you don't really follow what has come out, or where it's come out, or when it's come out. Before, like, it'll be 2 minutes, it's online, and my father would have sent it to me. He's like, see, I found this. He's already watched it.
So sweet that is.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
I know that your story with Mukul is equally romantic, and I'm sure the fans also know that, that how you all met. The last time when we spoke was a theatrical, meeting, and then how the conversation happened, and then, turning into marriage. And touchwood, the good thing is that he belongs to this world, and I'm sure that he also equally understands how the bond has been over the years, when you speak about your marriage.
I mean, quite interesting. I think I would really say, I don't want to paint a rosy picture of marriage, because it's not like that. It's not like that on every day, and I think it would be unfair to sort of say, it's all there have been ups and downs, and we've sort of worked our way around it. But I think it's very beautiful to have somebody along with you who has seen you through different times. In fact, there are some times that, I feel like I have my memories very strange. Like, I forget things that I just don't want to remember, and I have no memory of it. And as a result, I make the same mistake again. So it's very nice to have somebody with you who reminds you how you were feeling from the outside, how you were feeling at a particular time, what you thought about your work at a particular time. So it's very nice to have that companionship, that kind of feedback. And I think it's also very interesting to work through the ups and downs of a relationship. It's I find it, I won't say always fun, because not all of it is fun. Some of it is work, and you have to really plow through things. But I find it interesting to have known somebody for so many years, and they have known me, and to see them through different things, to watch them change, to watch the relationship change. So I've quite enjoyed it.
That's interesting. Rasika, also, as we speak about marriage, about family, and about getting into the world of acting, you have been impressing people with your performances. And when I say so, Delhi Crime has become the major subject for a lot of people. And whenever we watch Delhi crime, we also realized one thing, that ये हो रहा है, ये society में हो रहा है. And this time the topic itself is of child trafficking, which exists for years and years, and we have not come to any conclusion that there would be any solution to this. We know that this is happening. We are just alerting people, but there's no solution to this. While working on this one, how your emotions were, where you had to kind of hold back to your emotions, and how did you work through this?
I mean, I think the idea is, when you work on a show like Delhi Crime, is to be affected by the material. And on most days, my preoccupation is not how am I going to deal with what I feel later on, but am I going to be able to get there at all or not? Am I going to be able to find the heart and the empathy to be in a space where I haven't actually been in my life. But to be able to, for a moment, for a sentence, for a shot, for a scene, be able to experience somebody else's life or somebody else's truth for even a moment, So you're always trying to do that, you're trying to get there. And as for the rest, I really feel ki any scene that you perform in your life becomes an experience for you. Just like anything that would have happened to you.
Correct.
Like you would have gone out somewhere, met somebody, they would have said anything to you. Same way that scene happened in your life. Now it's there. So either you might remember it, you might choose to forget it, you might choose to keep something from it, you might not. And वो सब चीज़ें इतनी consciously आपको पता भी नहीं होती कि कितना आपके ऊपर किसी चीज़ का impact हुआ या नहीं हुआ, और क्या आपने उससे क्या सीखा और क्या आपके पास रह गया, So ये चीज़ें tangible नहीं होती उतनी, and that's the beauty of it. It's like a lived experience, right? Something happened to you, you can't really analyze what exactly the effect of that has been. Maybe you realize many years later that I still remember something which was seemingly very small. कितनी बार ऐसा होता है?
Yeah, trivial होता है, suddenly it's like,
you feel somebody said something to you and it was just passé. But you meet that person again and you feel like, oh my god, they said that and that wasn't nice. It's just, so that's what I'm saying, you never know what the impact of something on you is in life, and similarly for when you're on a shoot. But the idea is really to be able to experience something which is beyond my realm of experience, to be able to experience something which I would not have in my life otherwise.
As an actor also, have you been lucky enough, do you consider yourself like that when it comes to the directors directing you? Because there are many directors who are equally careful and concerned about the actors being also vulnerable when trying to portray a certain role, because when you are in a certain phase while trying to depict that role, you may not be in that situation, but you have to make it look real, relatable to the people. So have you been lucky on that aspect?
It's really how I decide to do a project, because you're absolutely right that the requirement of the job is that you be vulnerable, and there should be a space which respects that vulnerability and knows how to nurture it towards telling the story. So a sensitive director who somebody who you can creatively collaborate with is मतलब the most important thing. आप कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते as an actor if that is not working. Because I mean really as actors for cinema, you're very, very dependent on so many things, like how you're lensed, how you're lit, how you're directed, what the background sound is can completely transform a performance. So when you're doing it, you don't know how these other elements are working. They have to be sort of working cohesively according to the vision of the director. So I have actually been very fortunate. I've had some wonderful, wonderful directors who've just been they're lovely to work with and so much fun to work with. Meera Nair, Nandita Das, Anup Singh, Richi Mehta, Tanuj Chopra for Delhi Crime. They've all been absolutely wonderful directors, and I'm lucky to have that largely. I have to say, and Gurmeet from Mirzapur, he's directed us for 3 seasons and now we are doing a film. So that is like, that sort of equation is so well established. But there have been times where I have very few, and that I have not been able to be on the same page as my director, and I have had to sort of shut my mind to that, because I just felt like they were either not sensitive to the material or not sensitive to to performers in general. तो वो एक आध इधर उधर experiences हुई हैं, but largely I've been very lucky in this department.
That's interesting. Also, the kind of roles, when I say so, the kind of roles which you have done, and there are intense roles, which you have done. And when I say intense, you have literally gone way too in depth while performing them. Which has been that one role for you which has been draining, or something which has stayed with you? It could be either draining, it could be something which had a negative impact on you, or it could be so positive also in a way that it stayed with you for a very long time.
I don't think draining is negative.
Yeah.
I think draining is an experience. It's not.
Yeah,
I don't think. You feel it, you experience it, and there is, there's a part of you as a performer who's feeling that feeling which is not good, and there's a part of you that feels almost an accomplishment of having gotten there. So actually there are those two sides. Sometimes you get confused by that. It's quite sweet actually. It's quite strange to experience that, because there is a part of you which is looking at yourself from the outside, and there is a part of you which is there. Somehow it happens in some situations. But I don't feel that draining is bad. But if I have to give you an example, Delhi crime always leaves me with something, and of course season 1 was very difficult for all of us, and as it should be. I felt really that it kind of assuaged my guilt in one sense, because I felt like there was so much we all did around the time that the Nirbhaya case came to light, but we then fall into our complacency and fall into the humdrum of life, and then we forget, and we then don't make it a point to call out everything small which is sexist, which actually is what leads to bigger crimes. This everyday sort of acceptance of women being treated badly, which is what finally leads to bigger violations, and we don't call that out every time, because it's sometimes too inconvenient to do that, and you just sort of go about your life. But it's important to remind yourself that something like this happened, and it was just the worst thing that could happen, and it continues to happen all the time, and one can't get desensitized by that either. So I think that that was one such experience. But there was also a film called Hamid which I had done, which was about this woman in Kashmir whose husband is quote unquote missing, and she's just waiting and trying to find out. No closure, like somebody who you've loved intensely is just gone one day, and you have no idea of where they are. And I had for a long time felt that I just don't know what it feels like to live in a place which has been in conflict forever, for as long as I have known. And so I told the director कि ये मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगी, आप किसी और को cast करो. But then eventually it just sort of came back to me, and they were like, we know you can do this, and I said okay, I'll do it, I'll take the challenge. And I had very few weeks. That film stayed with me for really, really long, and and just and I was very nervous that I would just not be able to get there. But I think in some moments of the film I did, and I felt like that was something that I managed to do. But very sad, very heartbreaking, but also something that one has to do as a performer, otherwise तो आप कुछ और ही कर लो ना.
And as acting has become your favorite profession, and it's not become, it's something you kind of even had navigated through. Delhi crime, we come on to that. You are working with some great actors on that series also, and someone like Shefali Shah. And tell us something about your working equation, because now from what you were on the show in the episode 1 to now, I'm sure the journey is also long. तभी बहुत डर के थे, यानी जब रोल था उसमें madam and all these things, to now how it has been.
So I think Neeti Singh has changed from season 1 to season 3. She's somebody I really like. She's really what I used to be, you know, this idealistic person who feels like their work can change the world. And I've shadowed a police officer from season 1 to season 3, and I've seen her change also, and I've seen Neeti change in the script also, and I've seen myself change also. So it's been quite lovely. So every season I go and shadow her and meet her again, and I spend a couple of days with her, and she's sort of become my, you know, the ritual होता है ना कि आप कहीं जाके मत्था टेको before you start something.
Yeah.
So that's become my ritual to go there and just observe her in her space. And I think she's been a great person to follow for Neeti Singh, and she's really given me another layer to work with. हाँ, क्योंकि कुछ चीज़ें आप अपनी imagination से add करते हो, कुछ आप अपनी life से add करते हो कि how would I respond to a certain situation. And some you sort of observe other people and kind of weave that in somewhere, you know, if the material allows you to. So it's been a very nice journey with all of that. Vis-a-vis my co-actors, I think my journey with Shefali has been similar to what Neeti and Vartika's has been in the series, because season 1 was, you know, when I met Shefali for the first time and I had watched so much of her work, and she's such an incredible performer, and I was so much in awe of her. And then in season 2 we became more friendly. It was more a friendship sort of an equation rather than one of you know, somebody
just giving cold shoulders, basically, because you were getting that in the season 1.
No, but she was never cold at all. She's always been very warm and very good to work with.
Not on the set, but otherwise, like, you know, on camera, she was like, okay.
Yeah. That Vartika Neeti scene, which you must have seen again
the
recently.
Chemistry between both of them, basically.
Yeah, it's quite lovely. And then I think Neeti and Vartika also in season 2 sort of have where she's working with her, so now she sort of sees her in a more human way, you know, where she's seeing Vartika's confusions, Vartika's where Vartika can oh, this person is human, she can also make a mistake, you know, that kind of a thing. And I think in season 3, which you will see in the show, is Vartika comes back. She's in another posting, and Neeti's sort of in charge there, and Vartika comes back, and now Neeti's like, "Arey, how do I?" She's happy that she's back to take charge, but also she was like, "Oh, but this was a space I was creating for myself. So how do I navigate this?" You know. So it's quite fun to watch their relationship. Also with Rajesh, I think Bhupi is just the character is such a lovely one to have. Like, I always feel everybody needs a Bhupi in their lives. Always this person who's there. You know
that he's standing for you.
When you need him, he will do the right things.
Also, recently, because Delhi is the topic of Delhi crime, Delhi being highlighted, something happened recently, and which we don't speak openly, also because it's also a very tricky situation for the entire nation. You were shooting in Delhi, and it also becomes risky because as actors, even y'all are placed at certain places which could be, for shooting purpose, but at like a Red Fort, when I say so, or otherwise Gateway, for that matter, India Gateway basically. And these places are equally on high security alerts also. As actors, how do you kind of, sometimes do you also feel like life is fragile because you don't really know what's next going to happen, which we don't know. And something like this we never expected also.
Oh, well, I mean, life is very fragile in every way. I mean, it's not just acts of violence, but also environmentally. I mean, there's complete havoc in the entire world about, you never know, you go for a trek and there's a landslide. And
exactly, yes.
So, I mean, that of course is very unfortunate, and in both ways, whether whether it's a nature thing or something which is humans inflicting violence on each other. And there's so much of it happening in the world. It's I think we are seeing 2 wars being fought in the world for such a long time, and it's not a good time.
And when I speak about Delhi, and last few questions only to you, what is that one memory you have made with that place while shooting for Delhi crime, or otherwise also, in case of one memory which stays very close to you?
Well, I've lived in Delhi for 3 years. I went to college in Delhi. So some of my most beautiful and formative years were in Delhi. As a young college student who was really, I went to LSR, which is a very feminist college, and it's really a place where I found a voice for my feminism. And I'm saying a voice for my feminism and not my feminism, because I think my feminism was always there, and I feel like it's always there, and you just have to sort of find a voice for it.
True.
So those years were very, very special. But also those years were strange, because it wasn't a city which was understood to be safe for women, and so there were lots of restrictions on how we went, till what time we could be out and what time we had to come back, and we had strict hostel deadlines, and that whole system was in place because the city was not safe for women. And I think that's a very unfair way to make young women live, because why should we be our freedom sort of be jeopardized because men don't know how to behave themselves. So our society doesn't do anything about it. So yeah, that sort of existed, and I don't think that was a fair way for a college student who was sort of, you know, having fun to live their lives. But it was also a place where, like I said, I met many like-minded people. I was in a college which encouraged a lot of free speech and really sort of gave me a good base to sort of really form my early thoughts and opinions on things.
It's interesting. And before I let you go, I have to also ask you about this, that Mirzapur is now turning into a movie. It's turned into a movie, and you equally have a very special role which we have seen throughout whenever we have seen Mirzapur as a series. Conversion into film completely, how different it is going to be, and again working with someone like Pankaj Tripathi sir and the entire team out there.
I mean, working with Pankaj is so entertaining, really, because when you're working with him, it's really, you don't realize what all he's doing. And then when you watch it later, you're like, अच्छा ये तो मैंने notice ही नहीं किया कि ये कर रहे थे. So it's really lots of fun, and he's always so relaxed on set that it's very disarming. You know, he's never making a big deal out of anything. So it's, and Pankaj has a natural sense of humor, as you must have noticed. Pankaj कुछ बोलता तो मुझे हंसी आ जाती है. So it's very fun to sort of be around him, and the entire cast of Mirzapur is very, very talented actors, and we've all worked with each other for so many years now that things are kind of seamless. And Gurmeet has been there with us, which is the most important thing actually. We've had the same director through 3 seasons and now a film. But every time I go back, I'm like, I hope I can find my Beena again. You know, it's really that feeling, because she, like with Neeti Singh in Delhi Crime, I always feel like that's my default. I can easily slip into that. I've been that. I'm mostly like that in terms of my body language and all of that. And I just need to find a way to sort of connect it to the story and be there as a police officer with the shadowing work that I do, etc., and make that person somebody which is not exactly like me, but at the core has some similarities. Beena, on the other hand, is completely different. So I always have to go find her, you know, because I feel like, I hope I'm in my body language not shifting to what is my default, which is a more apologetic body language, or just a more shy body language, you know. With Beena, she owns the space that she's in, so I'm always nervous I haven't got that.
Well, before I let you go, now Mirzapur, Delhi Crime, all these series are coming, but apart from this, you know what you're working on? If you could reveal something, because I could see in your eyes there is something which is interesting.
Actually, I haven't finished shooting for the film. I'm still shooting for that, and after that I have one project lined up which I'm very excited about, but unfortunately I can't say anything about it.
Do you also believe in Nazar like that? You know, do you also feel like certain things should be kept to yourself until it's, you know, all out there in public?
No, I'm ready to scream from the rooftops about every project that I'm in, but
you're more into contracts, believing in contracts and Nazar, aren't you?
Yeah, but I guess, you know, people don't want you to reveal information for a reason, because things might change till the time we start shooting. You don't know, this profession is so unpredictable. One day you have something and the next day it's not there, because it's just so many things have to come together. It's a house of cards, so one piece is missing and it all comes down. So I guess it's prudent to not talk about it before things are at least a little. I mean, you're at least a little into it, and then maybe you know that it's happening. But I don't believe in it from the Nazar point of view. In fact, I feel like if you talk about it, you might just get better vibes.
But lovely chatting with you, Rasika. And thank you so much for such a lovely interaction and giving me insights about your journey as an actress, which I think it's not that easy to also unfold, because I feel the journey of an actor is very difficult as much as shown on screen. So lovely chatting with you as always, and thank you so much for such a lovely interaction.
Thank you. Always lovely to talk to you.
Thank you.